Hey everybody, Tom Sparks with Sparks Media Group. Today we're at this house we've been working on for the past couple days, and we've been doing some tests of the various cameras in the Matterport ecosystem. We've already done the Pro 2 and we've done the Theta Z1. So today we're going to work on doing this house with the Pro 3, which you can see right there. So the first step I did was I connected to the Wi-Fi hotspot on the Pro 3, and then I went to New Job. I put in the address, and I labeled it Pro 3, as you can see. And so we're getting ready to begin. I always do the first scan by the front door, so we'll start there. I'm going to come around the corner. Now I'm going to do a recording of how long it takes to do a scan. So I'm going to launch my clock and come out of the way, and we're going to hit the start button right now. That was 16 seconds, 17 seconds to scan, a little over 5 seconds to download, and we have 6 seconds to align, which gives us a total of about 28 seconds. I'm getting an error that says the camera's unstable. I'm going to ensure that this is tight right here, which it appears to be. I'm going to make sure this is locked down. So the camera's on there and it's locked down. We'll check the scan data. That looks okay. So now we're going to go on the other side of the door. Now, let's see here. Let's try this again, shall we? We're going to reset. I'll do a screen recorder, so I'll put it side by side. All right, we're going to hit the start button now. Almost 17 seconds to scan, 5 seconds to download, and almost 6 seconds to align. So we're at almost 28 seconds. Now I'm wondering why I'm still getting this error. I'm going to lower the head a little bit and see if that helps. Seems pretty tight on there. All right, we're just going to continue on. Now as I go, I like to mark windows and mirrors. Find it's much easier to do it as we're on site, so we can look at the area and refresh our memory of what's where. A mirror right here. So it's interesting, just lowering the neck of the tripod slightly causes it to be a little more stable. So that's pretty tight. We'll keep trying it like that. All right. So I'm going to time this overall shoot and we'll see how long it takes. Because we're using the Pro 3, we're going to do the outside spaces as well, so that's going to add a little extra time on. But I'll do that last so you know how long it takes to scan the inside of the house. One thing I've noticed as I've been doing this versus the Pro 2 is, yeah, you can get scans done quicker with the Pro 3 by a few seconds. But I don't know that you're saving really that much time because, at least in a house, you still need roughly the same amount of scan points to give a good user experience on viewing the property. Now, if you're in a big warehouse or an outside space where you can scan further apart, then yeah, the Pro 3 would definitely be a time save. I don't like these errors I'm getting. The scans look fine, but I'm going to lower the tripod still just a little bit more. Now, if you've seen my other videos, you'll know that I like to scan on either side of the door. So I'm doing a scan right here, and then I'll do a scan on the other side of the doorway in that room once I'm done with this room. With any 3D virtual tour, it's good to maintain line of sight. And what that means is if you do one scan point, the second scan point should be relatively close or see where the first scan point was, and that's so that the data can align itself. So, general rule of thumb is the more scan points in a space, the easier of a job it is to align. The Matterport Pro 3 does a good job in auto aligning, so we don't really have to worry about it too much. But I've seen some Matterport tours, particularly with the Pro 2, where there's, one or two scans in a room, and it just doesn't look that great in the dollhouse view, and it also doesn't give a good user experience for those who are viewing the property online. The goal when doing Matterport tours is to fill in all the black areas on the mini-map as best as you can. Sometimes there's furniture in a corner where it's not possible to fill in every area, but the more complete the mini-map is, the better experience on the dollhouse view it is. An unexpected error occurred processing the scan. Please try again. Okay. Now, before we continue on with the rest of the house, we're gonna do the bottom of the stairs. We want to do all the stairs and include that on the first floor all the way to the top. We're not going to do that right now, but we're going to scan at the bottom of the stairs. Now, for those of you who have used a Pro 2 or have a Pro 2, you'll know that changes in spaces can cause problems with aligning and the Pro 2. Meaning we have this closet right here, and with the Pro 2, how we would have done it was keep the closet slightly open like that and done a few shots in. But we're gonna see how this works with the Pro 3. So we've done with the closet door closed. Now I'm gonna open the closet door and put a scan right there. And we're gonna see if it aligns okay. I'm fully expecting that it will align okay and that there'll be a scan point placed right about here. And it found it. So now we'll continue on. Double check, make sure that looks good. Yep. Now, we typically hide closets and garages from a tour. Well, it depends. If it's an empty garage or a big walk-in closet, we'll show it. But generally speaking, we'll hide closets, pantries, that kind of thing from being clickable in the tour, but we still want to keep it for dollhouse viewing. Gonna mark the front door as a window. I'm not actually gonna do that because we're gonna go outside. If we're only doing inside spaces, I would mark this front door as a window because there's light coming in, and you can see that on the mini map right there. But we're gonna go outside and do the outside space, so we're not gonna mark that. We'll mark these windows though. When looking at tours online, I can always tell who may not be that experienced or are rushing through scanning a space because sometimes you'll see splatter on the dollhouse view and it doesn't look that great. Maybe a lot of people wouldn't care. We're going to mark the front of the fireplace as a mirror because there's some glass and brass trim, and that is giving us some reflection. When there's more furniture in a room, it takes longer to scan, so keep that in mind. Because you want to go around all the furniture and try to fill in the dollhouse as best as possible, it does take longer to scan a house that has furniture in it than a house that's void of furniture. When I'm scanning, my preference is to start at the front door and scan all the living spaces, lower level first, obviously, and then do the upstairs, usually finishing with the primary bedroom. And if I'm doing outside spaces, then I'll do probably the backyard with the front yard being last. That's just a preference of order that I like to go in, but everybody can do it their own way. Now with this sliding glass door, I'm only going to mark half of it as a window, and I'll show you that right now, because we're going to open it and go outside later. Gotta love tight entryways. Now with the garage, we're gonna use the tripod to hold the door open slightly. And hopefully between 31, 29, and 30, there's enough scan data where it will align. And it did. So now we're going to go down. Now I'm going to stand and hold the door roughly the same distance. Now we can kind of spread our wings in here, hopefully. And I'm gonna go back in the house so my shadow is not in the camera. Just so we'll have the ability to walk all around the property. I'm gonna open the door. Now we'll start heading up the stairs. So I like to do every 3 stairs, I'd say. And what you want to do is make sure the tripod is level. As level as you can get it. And so that's what it looks like. And so right about here, we should have scan number 38. Now, all this was on the first floor. So when we go to start this landing on the second floor, we're gonna have to create a new floor. And so what we're gonna do is put it right at the top of the landing. Our camera's level. We're gonna select Add New Floor, Floor 2, and hit Scan. Let's try to raise this up a little bit so we can see the view. I'll lower it back down. Now I'm putting the camera slightly off kilter, and that's so that the LiDAR can see the corner of the closet. Now, if you wanted to do one extra scan, you could put the camera half in the closet and half out, and that will ensure that the LiDAR is able to see all the way in the closet. This is just helpful for square footage calculation and drafting purposes when making floor plans. Before we proceed with our scanning, let's take a minute to talk about door stops. If you can see right down here, I have the basic Amazon doorstop, works great. But I also have these new ones, which are called wedgets, and they can slide under the door, but if there's not enough of a gap, you can put them right there on the hinge, just slides over it. And I believe they can go up top too somehow, but I haven't really watched or made a video fully on this yet. But yeah, I just use them right here and slide them in the hinge, and that keeps the door open. They work great on big industrial heavy-duty doors. I'll put a link in the description to both versions that I use. I always recommend having more than enough on hand. I have probably 20 of the older style door stops, and I have 4 wedgets. I tend to donate them to properties I scan, which can be annoying sometimes. Now, if you watched Scan 44, I raised the tripod, and I didn't because I forgot. So we're gonna delete 49, and I'm just gonna raise the tripod and rescan it. That way people would get a nice little view out the window. Back down to our height. Open this closet door and do a little outside. I'm going to do this closet. We're going to open it all the way, put the tripod there. I actually don't have to do in the closet because 52 saw enough of that data. So now we'll do the bathroom. Now, I like to mark windows and mirrors as soon as I can see where they're at, because with the Pro 2, sometimes you get issues when scanning spaces that have a lot of reflective surfaces. But what I found is if you mark those ahead of time as best you can, those issues are lessened, if that makes sense. I was doing a car dealership, and I was scanning inside. There was a lot of glass to separate the offices, and the Pro 3 handled it fine. The Pro 2 would have lost its mind had I not marked everything ahead of time. But with the Pro 3, I didn't have to mark it ahead of time. It's still a good rule of practice to get into, is just marking everything as best you can ahead of time. So this is really tight space. We're gonna open the door a little bit so that the Pro 3 can see everything where it's been and now where it's going. Good old line of sight. And I'm gonna come in here, but you wanna make sure that we're not in the reflection of that mirror. So I gotta come over this way so that it can't see me. Now, the speed of this scan, the speed of this scanning of the house, you'll see that it's going pretty well. It's been about 38 minutes so far, and we're almost done upstairs. I'm not rushing through the house, but I'm talking, and that adds a little time, and taking my time and moving the tripod and explaining why I'm putting it where I'm putting it. So that adds a little bit of time. But it doesn't take long. It's always better to take your time and do it right the first time than to put out a crappy product, because your name is on this product, and not only the client that you're doing the scan for will be seeing the product, but a lot of other people will be seeing it as well too, especially if it's on Zillow and Realtor and Redfin and MLS. You have all those eyes that could be potential clients, and if you miss something or you have too much outside splatter and it doesn't look good, they may be less likely to call you. Of course, there's some agents that don't care, some clients that don't care, and they just want the lowest price possible and to deliver something. But it's really up to you to educate your client on what you're giving them. And I say that to say that, not every client's going to need an outside space scanned, but if you find that will add value to their marketing, then you want to offer that to them. Now, if you watch the Pro 2 video that I did of this house, and I'll put a link in the description, the sun coming in here was causing some black areas on the mini map. And so we had to do a 360 and then convert it to a 3D, which added a little extra time, but not much. And here you'll see that the Pro 3 is handling this nicely. It already kind of does it for us. Well, not does it for us, but it fills it in. You don't have to do that extra step. This closet is a little interesting. There's a separation in the space, and so I want to document that accurately. So what I'm going to do is do a scan on either side. I marked a mirror because there's a mirror up there. Not a mirror, I'm sorry. I marked a window because there's a window up there. Coffee hasn't kicked in yet. All right, and let's see if there's a window in this shower area. We don't have one up there. Okay, so we're done with the upstairs. Now we'll do the backyard. Now to go in the backyard, we're gonna open the door and start with a scan point right here. Want to make sure you switch to the right floor. Hopefully this will align. And it does. Now I know because of previous outdoor tests that I can scan up to 115 feet, which I wouldn't do here because it just would make a really bad tour, but it's possible. By the way, we're at about 50 minutes before we went outside, so it took about 50 minutes to scan this 2,000 square foot house, and now we're continuing on the outside space. Now I did a scan point right here, and so you're able to see this side of the chimney and the front of the chimney. So now we're going to go right here so that you can see the front of the chimney and that side of the chimney. We can actually circle the camera this time. If there's no sunlight causing shadows on the ground, you can just rotate with the camera. So make sure you stay in back of it. We're gonna do 83 will be right on the other side of the doorway, so it matches up with 37. Previous to the Pro 3 coming out, the only way you could do an outside space was using the Pro 2 at sunrise or sunset or extremely overcast days. Or you'd have to rent a Leica BLK 360 or buy a Leica BLK 360, which is right around $18,000 to $20,000. You can rent them for around $150 a day usually. But the BLK 360 is extremely slow. Got some bagpipes playing. I don't add background music to my videos, but enjoy. Okay, let's do a test and see how we're doing on timing. So I'm gonna hit the start button now. It was almost 17 seconds to scan. Almost 6 seconds to download. And almost 8 seconds to align, so a little over 30 seconds, which to me seems to be a very slight increase. We're at 93 scans in so far. I think the further away from the device you are, the longer it'll take to download. So I always like to walk close. Just want to check 94 and make sure I'm not in the view when I was in the house. And I don't think you can see me with the reflections. I think we're good. You'll notice I raised the tripod a little bit earlier when I was over there, and I did that so that we can get more data up on the roof. I see some posts about scanning at like 20 feet high, 30 feet high. It's something I would never do. Well, I'm not comfortable doing that, at least right now with the tripod I have and a almost $7,000 camera on top of it. And I have a pretty good tripod. I'll put a link to the description. I'll put a link to it in the description. So we're gonna do kind of the center here. And when I do this scan, I'm gonna circle behind the camera, but I wanna make sure that my shadow is not in view of the camera or the LiDAR. So it's gonna require a wide circle. Okay, I think we have enough data. Now what I like to do is mark the lot lines as mirrors. And I do that so when you're looking at the dollhouse, you can see what's on the other side. And once we go in the front yard, I'll continue these side ones. But yeah, so that's probably, you can see that we're outside. We were able to scan further apart. And that's pretty much all you need for outside. So now we'll go do the front yard. We're at hour 4 minutes, I think, thus far. So I think the backyard took about 14 minutes to do. Now to do the front yard, we're gonna lower the tripod back to our regular height. Open the front door. And we'll do a scan with the door open. We'll go on the other side of the door. I'm probably going to hide scan 1 since we're not going to need it because we'll be able to walk from the front yard all the way through the front door into the house. I didn't explain, but the general rule of thumb is that whenever you have more than 4 steps, you want to create a separate floor. So going 1 step up into entryway or going 2 steps down into a lower kind of sunken living room, you don't need to create a new floor for that. Now, keep in mind, scan number 99, which we just did, we have the front door open. This mat's getting in the way. We have the front door open, and so you're going to be able to, once you hit scan 99, or even scan 100, you'll be able to walk through and see inside. But we do want to do a scan with the door closed so that people can see how nice the door is. So we'll put another scan kind of close. And now that I'm outside, I'm gonna raise the tripod. Do they make electronic bagpipes with headphone jacks? Who knows? All right. Now, if the yard is uneven, you want to adjust the tripod before you start scanning. The yard seems pretty even here, so we'll just keep going. I'm going to extend the mirror line out. There's a bee that fancies my camera. See if it's in the shot. No bee. Such a big circle. All right. Do the center of the garage, center of the driveway. Grab a couple more. And the last one. So let's go over the stats here. 113 scans when we're done with this one. This lady in her bagpipe. Kind of getting on my nerves. So the stats, 113 scans. We used about 88% battery. We started with a full battery and we're down to 72%. No misalignments. The house, according to Zillow, is 2,053 square feet. The lot size is 7,841 square feet. And we did the whole scan, front, back, inside, outside, first floor, second floor, in about an hour and 15 minutes with my boring self talking through most of it. And so there you have it. If you find this video useful, please like it and share it. If you hate the fact that it's an hour and 15 minutes, dislike it. I don't mind. Actually, I do mind. Just give it a like anyway. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them in the comments below. And if you're not subscribed to my channel, please do so. Recommend all your friends subscribe. I'll try to keep making content like this. And so yeah, that's it. Thanks for watching, guys.